Hey everyone, we are back. After not so long, it felt like a long time as well as it felt like uh, it went away in blink of an eye, right? Yeah, so we were away on vacations, Hamad and me. I was busy elsewhere, Hamad was busy elsewhere.
Hmm.
Um, we were also away from music. We were also away from the channel. It was kind of a detox, or we needed to come back revitalized,
Yep.
right? Rejuvenated. So we are. I am actually. I was looking forward for this session for us to sit down with a lot of excitement,
Yes, absolutely.
right?
And I think
So
what better track than this one, right?
yeah, so Potro Dio is what we are listening today. Is done by Emon Chowdhury, featuring Tanzir Tuhin,
Mm-hmm.
Helal Hafiz, Tori. This is the first music video or song that we are listening on this channel from Emon Chowdhury's channel, right?
From Emon Chowdhury.
I
Yeah,
have I haven't heard this song. I'm not sure about you.
I have.
Although what I have done is at least looked at the lyrics because this is at the least we should do before a song that we cannot understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, but before we start listening to it, I just want to say that what I didn't miss is the work we put in, right? The channel, the music. I was kind of away from music as well, pretty much.
mm,
Wasn't listening anything. But what I did miss a lot were you folks, all of you,
absolutely, absolutely.
right? So you all have been part of our lives pretty much every
Mm-hmm.
single week, every single day, right? Since we started last March, 2022, until December, late December, uh, every single day were kind of spent with you all.
Yeah,
And we, I mean, I cannot welcome you all back into our lives.
absolutely. And just a bit of background on why I chose this particular track. You haven't listened to it, but this track was, I mean, when we were on vacation, this track was recommended by a lot of people who reached out on Instagram as well. A couple of people commented on our YouTube channel as well. And I always, we listened to Emon Chaudhary's song before in movie Hava, right? So those were a couple of interesting tracks that he composed, and it was a natural choice for our comeback. So that's why I proposed to listen to this particular track.
I mean, I never question your picks as well. So I'm actually looking forward to it. So I've heard Imran Chaudhary work before, not this one. So let's jump into it.
Yep.
All right, three, two, one, play. How relaxed he's sitting, Tanzir Tuhin.
এখন তুমি কোথায় আছো কেমন আছো পত্র দিও এখন তুমি কোথায় আছো কেমন আছো পত্র দিও
The signature lower notes from
একদিকে
Bangladeshi male singers.
মেলায় কেনা খামখেয়ালির তাল পাখাটা খুব নিশীথ তোমার হাতে কেমন আছে পত্র দিও পত্র দিও ক্যালেন্ডারের কোন পাতাটা আমার মতো খুব ব্যথিত ডাগর চোখে তাকিয়ে থাকে তোমার দিকে
Brilliant
পত্র
vocals.
দিও
Just focus on this
পত্র
particular part
দিও
now.
কোন কথাটা অষ্টপ্রহ কেবল বাজে মনের কানে কোন স্মৃতিটা উস্কানি দেয় হাসতে বলে প্রেমের বাণী পত্র
Listen to this.
দিও
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Wow.
Look at the effort
Exactly.
it was very visible. So the lower notes are effortless, right? But when he went high, he had to put into a lot of effort, but flawless.
Flawless.
আর না হলে যত্ন করে ভুলে যেও আপত্তি নেই গিয়ে থাকলে আমার গেছে কার কি তাতে আমি না হয় ভালোবেসে ভুল করেছি নষ্ট ফুলের পরাগ মেখে পাঁচ দুপুরে নির্জনতা খুন করেছি কি আসে যায় একই জীবনে কতটা আর নষ্ট হবে এক মানবী কতটাই বা কষ্ট দেবে এখন তুমি কোথায় আছো কেমন আছো পত্র
The use of jello.
এক বিকেলে মেলায় কেনা খামখেয়ালি তাল পাখাটা খুব নিশীথ তোমার হাতে কেমন আছে পত্র দিও ক্যালেন্ডারের কোন পাতাটা আমার মতো খুব ব্যথিত ডাগর চোখে তাকিয়ে থাকে তোমার দিকে
Look at his body language. Very interesting.
পত্র দিও
Every single word that he's singing, he means it. Beautiful.
পত্র দিও পত্র দিও
I'm totally mesmerized.
Captivating voice.
Shit. Okay, I was really surprised. At one point, I was like, my jaw was dropped.
Yep.
It was totally jaw dropping. I mean, some sections of it. I've heard Tanzir Tuhin before in a couple of songs that were recommended, which we haven't been able to cover so far. But this was something else. This was pure skill on display, his range on display. But the thing that I love about these artists, we have heard so many. I mean, Tanzir Tuhin is one of one of many. That not only the focus of their music is not just display of skill, right? As I was saying, that the body language throughout this song was very interesting, that he was emphasizing all the words. So first of all, his pronunciation was very clear. Every single word that he was pronouncing was very clear, and the emphasis on each important word, he meant it, right? The way he was saying Potro Dio, give me the letter, or Potro means letter, right?
Letter, yeah.
Potro Dio. So every single thing, his body language was showing that he meant it, right? He was living what he was singing. Huh, but
Absolutely.
I mean, the singing itself, the singing itself.
True. I was also hooked because of his vocal prowess in this particular. I was sucked into this particular track because of the way he sang it.
Yeah, there you mentioned the use of Jello, which was complementing his
Hmm.
voice, but I think even if it had none of the instruments,
Hmm.
his voice in an empty room would have done it. Done it. That
True.
the way I've sung it, in a silence space around a bonfire, right?
Hmm.
If someone of that skill and that voice was singing, I mean, you don't need anything. You just need silence,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
With those, I mean, we both are huge fans of lower notes, right? Especially from singers from Bangladesh. We have heard Arnab, right, and other folks that are masters of low notes, him
Hmm.
included. But his higher notes were so beautiful.
Yep.
They were, even if he went high, when he went high, it was warm. It was very,
Hmm.
very. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't like piercing,
Correct. Correct.
right? So going
You.
high with a chesty voice, not singing falsetto.
Hmm.
Also, interesting thing is that when you're sitting down, right? When you're standing up, you have a full lung capacity, and
Hmm.
your throat increases.
Hmm.
But when you're sitting down, the lung capacity decreases.
Hmm.
And even though his facial expression showed that he was putting in some effort, but the effort in the throw wasn't there. So even while sitting, he was so comfortable singing those parts.
Hmm.
Just shows how skilled, how practiced he is, how much command he has. I mean, we can't even question it, but
Yeah.
listening to him on this platform in this song, we are just surprised, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, naturally, naturally, we when we see something, when we hear something that is out of the ordinary, your brain tries to rationalize it. Okay, what happened? What exactly happened?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
this is me. Okay, okay. How did he do that?
That's true. There was a very good point that you made about going into the higher note and the voice didn't become sharp. So usually, not a lot of singers, but some singers, when they try to go on a higher scale, the pitch also increases and the voice becomes sharp. For some singers, it kind of feels like I scream, or because of the effort they are putting it kind of feels like they are raising the volume a lot and just kind of entering into a scream mode. And here in Tuhin's voice, it wasn't the case. I mean, you can see that through facial expressions. Obviously, the facial expressions would change when you are singing this high, but the transition from lower note to the higher note was effortless, extremely effortless. And if you are just listening to his voice, you will feel that particular thing that he has complete command of switching from one scale to another without any problem. Without any problem. I mean, again, we are not the judge. We cannot really judge his skill. But whenever I
We can
listen
just
to other
admire,
vocalists, admire, we can just be
right?
in an awe, right? Of
Exactly. This is
yeah,
this is the state of being
yeah.
right now, of being but also, I mean, it's true with every single thing. You see something extraordinary, whether it's a song, a vocal performance, a cricket match, a batting performance, a bowling performance. You just tend to
Yeah,
think that, okay, how did that guy do it? When
you
you
are
are in the
just
all and
starstruck. Yeah,
you're wondering, okay, what level of skill he possesses, and what he did to achieve that, right? What he went through to
mm,
get there.
yeah,
And this is, I mean, now I do understand that he has his own fan base. especially from
Definitely.
Suriname days, right?
Sure.
So we have heard that there was this fan base of
Hmm.
Suriname who were
Mm-hmm.
disgruntled when Tuhin left.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
And I mean, his voice. Actually, his singing was also reminding me of the kind of music, the signature, the fingerprint of Surinamen's music.
The old
So, to
Shernaman. Yeah.
somewhat, right? The
Hmm.
way the use of English words in between, right?
Hmm.
The use of calendar and all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Suriname does that, but also how it was used and how it was sung.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I think there's a tiny bit of carryover
Hmm.
from those days, or maybe he brought that element into Suriname. We don't know.
Could
Maybe
be.
we have to explore their old work when Tuhin was working with Suriname. But I think this would this would provide all the compelling we need
Hmm.
to dive into that work.
Absolutely. And I think one of the reasons that it feels like kind of Shernaman's track, kind of, not completely, but kind of Shernaman's track is that Shernaman actually they love using cello in their music. We have seen it in their other tracks as well, and here it was also visible. I also want to point out Emon Chowdhury's arrangement or the subtle arrangement that he did for this particular track to evoke that emotion of longing, right? So when you listen to cello, or at least the experience I have had, beginning right with the cello was a great creative decision, I feel, because if you start the song, it directly kicks in with cello. And usually in such sort of songs, people tend to go with acoustics first, with keys first, and as the build-up is there, and with the build-up, they then kick in Jello and starts to add the magic of Jello into the song as it progresses, right? But here they did it from the word go, which was really interesting to me personally. I felt it. It just pulled the strings of my heart, and it created that gloomy aura, which was impactful. And then his voice came in, right?
Good that you mentioned Emon Chaudhry. By now, we know Emon Chaudhry is an absolute genius when it comes to circumstantial music
Yes,
or
yes.
environmental. He needs to portray an environment.
Hmm.
He's an absolute genius. So we have heard many of his creations, namely that the one that comes to mind was Shada Shada Kala Kala, right? And
Hmm.
in during that song, we were talking about there were fishermen
Hmm.
singing right together, and all the instruments that were used were what could be available to fishermen, right? They were
Yeah.
just playing anything available,
Yep.
drums, any wooden furniture, any wooden box, anything, right? And uh, pieces of crockery and all, right?
Hmm.
And using that, he created that environment that
Yep.
okay, fishermen are singing together, right? I think I'm not remembering any other work from top of my head.
I think there was Atta Baje Deri Korishna, right,
Right,
from
right,
Hava movie.
right. But yeah, it's he it creating that environment, the
Hmm.
environment that the song needs
Correct.
to maximize the feeling
Hmm.
that it requires.
Yeah.
He has done it multiple times and done it so well, right? So
Absolutely.
I think his arrangement, his musical genius is on display again. We have heard another one of it, which again is evading my mind right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Coming back from vacation, that had um,
Would have to go
right
back to
after
our playlist.
right after the Coke Studio Chilte Road came out. We heard
Hmm.
another song that featured um, what was his name? The singer
I'm
with Arnaud
also uh,
Boga,
Boga,
or
Boga.
right?
Hmm.
And he had a song with Emon Chaudhry where he was
Yes. I think we haven't covered that track, but we have listened
We
to
we
it.
haven't we haven't, but of course we have listened to it, right? And
Yes.
he did this same wailing
You are talking about Puban Hawa, right?
Puban
Puban
Hawa,
Hawa. Right, yeah.
Puban Hawa.
Hmm.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. So you see, it's all coming back. It's it's like going to school after summer vacations, and
Yeah.
where you haven't done anything, and yeah, it's all coming back. But on that note, where it's all coming back, I want to go back to you folks.
Hmm.
Tell us what's new. Tell us what's new. Tell us what came out while we were away. Tell us what you want us to listen to.
Hmm.
Something new from the bands we love, from the bands we haven't heard.
Hmm.
I know from my YouTube notifications that there are a lot of songs that came out.
Yep.
Um, I haven't heard any of them, but help us, help us. Maybe
Hmm.
tell us what we should listen to next.
Right. So, as I was mentioning about the tracks that we want to listen in future, you can suggest and recommend us further tracks. And I want to mention that I'm extremely glad that you threw in your suggestions even when we were on vacations. But we haven't gone through that complete backlog yet, but we definitely will. And we still have to go through a lot of comments that we have received. So feel free to share similar kind of music, and yeah, we'll try to catch up on that pretty soon.
Right. Just one thing to add here, that we the return was a tiny bit delayed, right?
Hmm.
Because when you come back, you have to deal with so many stuff. We are still dealing with it, but
Yep.
hopefully, now that we have sat down finally, right? We will
Mm.
continue to do it regularly. So yeah, be with us. We will try to be with you as much as possible. Yeah.
You can see that how much he misses you guys, right? So
I mean, we do. This is why we are back.
we definitely do, right? So again, thank you so much for all your support throughout. We cannot thank you enough. We keep on saying that, but that's definitely something that keeps us driving and keeps us motivated to create more content for you guys. So again, thank you so much for joining and experiencing this beautiful track with us, and we'll try to catch up on the next one, hopefully pretty soon, not with much delay. Take
Bye
care.
bye.